Exciting news this week at Georgia State regarding the baseball stadium formerly known as Turner Field, now known as Georgia State Stadium. This is the Georgia State Sports Update. Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome into this week's Georgia State Sports Update. Dave Cohen joined in this first segment by the Director of Athletics here at Georgia State University. That's Charlie Cobb. And Charlie, thanks for coming in and joining us. And it's been a long time coming. There has been talk about Turner Field, what we now refer to as the baseball stadium, formerly known as Turner Field, Georgia State Stadium, for a long time. And the news was great this past week now.
It's the fun part begins now.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work by a lot of people from the university to get us to this point, but it's an exciting time in the evolution of our athletic program to be able to say that we will acquire the property and Georgia State Stadium will be a reality, and we'll start the process of construction here in the near future.
All right, well, let's go ahead and answer the first question, because you've probably got it twice as many times as I have. Where's Georgia State football going to play in 2017? Are we following the Falcons into that Mercedes-Benz dome that they're building next to the Georgia Dome? The answer is?
Our intent is to play in Georgia State Stadium in 2017. We've got obviously a process to go through from a construction standpoint. A lot of the details that we may or may not be able to cover, in this show today, the university's put together a website at stadium.gsu.edu, and then on the website there's a lot of questions or answers to questions like this and others, some that we may not talk about today, but our intent is clearly to play in 17 if we can get what we need to get done to put a field down and play.
Is that the first order of business or among the first order of businesses? Because what I've heard is that there will be a 100-yard football field, they're all 100 yards, of turf down the third base line in Georgia State Stadium.
Yeah, actually you're breaking the story, because we're actually going to go to a 99.7-yard football field instead of 100, so we'll be the only one to do that. Boise's got the blue turf. Yeah. We'll have a smaller field, but just kidding. The reality of it is that for us to be able to play football in there in 2017, the real simple way to look at it is we need to demo some of the seats in left field to be able to accommodate a field. It's actually 120 yards long because you got to account for the two end zones.
Right.
And be able to put a field down. We're going to put a turf field down, and it helps with some multi-use aspects of a field. And then we got to put bleachers down, what we talk about being the east side of the stadium. Again, on the website, I think there's a lot of, and I'm pretty sure in this interview we're going to show those depictions. But it's pretty true to what we're going to design is what's being created in those drawings.
And as you said, 24/7 access. Now football has that for the most part right now with all the improvements that have been made at the current practice facility downtown with the weight room and all that kind of thing. But this will take it to the next level.
Oh, it absolutely takes it to the next level, because the first phase is to get us in to be able to play in 2017. We're working on the designs, and obviously it's subject to approvals from the Board of Regents and others to basically put a whole football operations piece within the stadium, do some other things around the Georgia State Stadium complex, but then also get started, on the baseball stadium as well. So we've got a number of projects in the immediate future right in front of us. It's one step in a much bigger piece, and also the redevelopment effort with the stadium complex area itself. It's a fascinating project to be a part of, especially when you think about it from being just athletics and you realize you're talking about playing games and having a venue to play in, and then there's so many other aspects that many others on this campus, and I, personally, it's been awesome to watch, people like Kerry Hayward, a university attorney, who's led this effort, and Walter Massey with the foundation, and Jerry Ratcliffe, obviously from the CFO's perspective, and their staffs, really kind of take this really complex puzzle and put it together to the benefit of the university. It's really fascinating to watch it transpire.
All right, again, we're in studio with Georgia State's Director of Athletics, Charlie Cobb. Georgia State football getting set this weekend to take on Georgia Southern. 37-23 the final score. Last Saturday, a loss to the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. And look, being in athletics and being an athletic director in collegiate athletics today is an exciting job. It's a lot of fun. The downside to it is when you have to fire a coach and let a coach go, and you had to do that this past week with Coach Miles, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's I tell people all the time, it's pick a number, 90, 95, 97% of the job. It's exhilarating, and, and it's certainly fun and exciting. It's a great lifestyle to be a part of and to be a part of so many great stories. But there are, situations, personnel situations that really weigh on you, and you hope you make the right decision because you realize you're affecting people and great guys. And Trent did an unbelievable job with this program. From what he inherited to where the program is now, it's light years ahead. I can't speak enough positive things about what the challenge that he took on and handled in a first-class manner. We're fortunate. We have no recruiting issues. We have no budget issues. We have no academic issues. We just, we needed to create some energy around the program, and and it's unfortunate. It's a downside of what sports is and where we're trying to be. If you're in a professional sports setting, a friend of mine is a NFL GM, and he always says they just go get other players. You don't have that luxury in college, and so to try and change a tempo, change some energy, felt like it was to make the change, and especially before the rivalry game against the school from down south, and hopefully create a little bit of energy within our kids and within our program on Saturday. And so that's what the hope is. We'll see where it goes.
All right, again, 37-23, the final score. The Panthers fall to Louisiana Monroe. Time now to take a look at some of the highlights from last Saturday's game at the Georgia Dome. Here's the snap, and it's going to be a pitch, and they're not going to fool anybody. Big loss of yards. Snap on the way to Caleb Evans, the freshman quarterback. Pressure up the middle. He spins, got away from it. And he escaped a couple of blue jerseys. He's not going to get away from Michael Shaw. Manning going to take the snap, going to make a throw here down the near sideline, and it's going to be caught by Robert Davis. Not a running play, got to throw the football. Manning going to step up across the middle. Caught Ari Wirtz at the 30, 35, 40, 45, cross midfield, 45, 40. Snap near hash mark, and they'll keep it on the ground. The late handoff, Connor Manning takes the snap, pressure up the middle, gets rid of it. Caught Glenn Smith, 25-20, 50, 10, 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia State. 2 steps back, down the near sideline, open Robert Davis, caught 25-20, 50, 10, 5, touchdown, Georgia State. Once again, 37-23, the final score. Panthers come up short to the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. And again, Georgia Southern coming up, the big rivalry game for the Georgia State Panthers, coming up Saturday inside the Georgia Dome. Kickoff at 2, 1:30 if you're with us on the radio with our pregame show. Charlie Cobb, the Director of Athletics at Georgia State, with us here in studio. And, Georgia State, Georgia Southern over the years, even going all the way back to the old Trans-America Athletic Conference, it was a good rivalry, but man, football really has taken it to the next level. And we've really had the two extremes in the first 2 games. They come up to Atlanta the first year, dropped 69 on us, and I think it was 69-31. And then Georgia State goes down there with 5 wins, backs against the wall, knowing what is at stake, a bowl bid, and we hand them the worst loss in the history of Georgia Southern football at Paulson Stadium. It's gone to the 2 extremes, and we get them back here in the Dome here on Saturday.
It's what college football is a big deal in the South, and one of the primary things that we're trying to do with our football program is make fall Saturdays important to our campus, and certainly having a great rivalry opportunity is something that we're going to try and develop, because we got to build a culture and try and develop. But it's certainly exciting to know that these games matter, and they matter to a lot of people. And anything can happen in a rivalry game, as you just mentioned. And so we hope we can continue the winning streak that we're on and turn it into 2 games. But it should be a lot of fun.
Well, I can remember last year on the radio show asking Coach Miles, we rivalry this, rivalry that. And, his answer, to paraphrase, was it's not a rivalry until we win one of these games.
Sure.
Of course, when he said it, he didn't know we were going to go down there and play as well as we did. We answered the call after the first Georgia Southern game, So I'd say 2 games in, it's as good of a rivalry with regards to football between Georgia State, Georgia Southern that you could ask for.
Yeah, I think Coach did know last year that we were going to play well. I think we were on a roll, and I think he's probably being a little bit coy with you in saying that. But we were on a great streak, and certainly it was a fun day. Anytime you can win a game in Statesboro, as a visiting team, it's always one you remember. It's a great environment to play in, and we want to recreate that here in Atlanta with our fans, and certainly we've got a lot to play for Saturday. Neither team really has the records that they thought they would have coming into the season, but that's why they call them rivalry games, because usually there's a chaotic moment or two that kind of can determine the outcome, and certainly, again, I look for our guys to really play with a lot of energy and a lot of passion. Honestly, we'll be disappointed if we don't, and I think it's something that our fans and our school can get behind, because these kids really care, and they're going to play hard.
And as Georgia State builds this football program, and I'm sure you've gotten a lot of phone calls with regards to the job at Georgia State, it's a better job today than it was when Coach Miles got here.
Absolutely.
And when Coach Miles got here, it was a better job because of the way Coach Curry left it. When we talk about the state of Georgia State football, there's been markers along the way where you can say, man, that was a really exciting time. This is a really exciting time because, granted, we're not having the kind of season and the win-loss record that everybody would have liked, but there's 2 games left to go. Georgia Southern is the next one, and everybody knows that no matter who is here, Turner Field will be waiting in the wings for the 2017 season.
If you're going to be successful with any program in Division I, you got to have a couple of things. You got to have the resources to be successful. You got to have the facilities to be successful, and you got to have the people to be successful. And we have the resources to be successful. We have a facility that I think will be the envy of many of our peers, if not all of our peers. That will be finished. It's not a concept anymore. It will be finished, in 2 years and operable. But we'll obviously be able to use most of it this next year. And then it's about finding the right people, and that's the challenge over the next, 4 to 5, 6 weeks. Hopefully to get the right coach, the right staff hired that can take a pretty talented group of guys and build with some recruiting and really focusing on Atlanta and Georgia and really develop and like I said, we have a great vision, great aspirations for this program, and it's certainly in a better place than it was 4 years ago, and we're thankful for Trent and the staff for what they were able to do to help us get to that point.
Let's talk a little bit of soccer. We've got some soccer highlights coming up from Georgia State, Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt Championship game out at Panthersville. 2nd consecutive season that Georgia State men's soccer has managed to reach the Sun Belt Championship game. Unfortunately, it came down to 1 goal, and Coastal Carolina got it late.
Yeah, soccer, it's haven't been around it a lot with Lindsay coaching all these years. It's always amazed me that it's probably the one sport where you can be the better team and still lose, because it's 1 goal is such a huge marker in the game. But our kids competed all weekend. I thought our staff did a phenomenal job of hosting the tournament, and I can't say enough great things about Brett and his staff. I mean, he does it the right way. He manages the program the right way. He doesn't complain. He puts his nose down. He grinds. Really proud of him as a coach, but also really proud of our team and how they represent Georgia State. And we're going to get there. I told him Saturday night, I said, man, I know you don't, it stinks losing, and he's a competitor like all of us, but I said, man, take pride in the effort and take pride in the fact you guys did it the right way. And and that's all you can ask for from a coach and from a program. And it's not one that I worry about when I go to bed at night.
Yeah. Time now to take a look at some of the highlights from that Georgia State soccer game, title game out there at the soccer complex at Panthersville. Again, a tough loss for men's soccer, 1-0 to Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt Conference Championship. But congrats to them again on a great season and for the 2nd consecutive season reaching the Sun Belt title game. Again, with Athletics Director Charlie Cobb, basketball off to a quick start. Had a home win in the opener and a tough loss down at Auburn. got another early season challenge up at Purdue, and then it's down to Cancun, Mexico for the next two.
Yeah, it was. It's been a whirlwind. This obviously the bridge of football, basketball. So a lot of late nights, and it's excited about the way the basketball programs look, both on the men's and the women's side. A good start for both teams. It was fun last night to be down at Auburn watching the men play, and thought we competed hard, competed well. Basketball has gotten to be an interesting game because it really boils down to who hits shots and who misses shots. Most teams are fairly even, and I think, but Ron, we talked briefly after the game, and really excited about effort. Really likes this team, likes the chemistry on this team, and usually if you got good chemistry and you got good leadership, you're going to have a successful year.
All right, I want to thank Georgia State's Director of Athletics, Charlie Cobb, joining us here in this segment. Coming up, we're going to talk to the men's head basketball coach, Ron Hunter. That's next here in the Georgia State Sports Update.
Hi, I'm Mark Becker, President of Georgia State University, here at Turner Field with Scott Taylor, President of Carter & Associates. We are proposing to redevelop this amazing site in ways that will honor the history of the Olympics, as well as 50 years of the Braves here in Atlanta, thereby also continuing the decades of work that Georgia State University has put into redeveloping downtown and our surrounding community.
Our public-private partnership has all the ingredients to change this part of our city forever. The private side of this project includes for sale single-family homes and townhomes, neighborhood retail and commercial, private student housing, as well as market-rate multifamily housing. But above all, we are committed to collaborating with the community on a development that will stimulate growth and vibrant economic activity for generations to come. We will build on the great momentum that's been established here by the Atlanta Braves and work hand in hand with the City of Atlanta and Fulton County on a plan that stands the test of time.
We continue on here in the Georgia State Sports Update. We're talking basketball. Head coach Ron Hunter with us in the studio. Georgia State basketball just back from Auburn, Alabama, and a tough one there last night. Final score over there at Auburn, 83-65. Georgia State basketball 1-1. They opened the season winning their season opener against Thomas University, 111-69. So you go from Thomas, and you really test your basketball team, taking them on the road to Auburn for game 2.
Yeah, we won it early in the season. We needed to find out where we were, and with Auburn and of course with Purdue coming up, this is the toughest stretch of the season for us. And I thought for the most part, I thought we played well. I don't think the scores really indicate an indication of how the game was played. Again, there was a lot of fouls, and it was kind of choppy in that game. But I saw some good things, and I saw some things that we went head to toe with a pretty good team in the SEC, and again, with a couple calls here or there, things may have been a look. No, but I thought our guys learned some things. Going on the road, it's a tough place to play, and again, I thought we did some good things. And again, I would have loved to see if that game was on a neutral court.
I think when you woke up this morning, that first foot that hit the floor, you heard a whistle.
Man, I tell you what, it was, we were in foul trouble right from the beginning of the game. I don't know if I've ever been that quickly having a team going to the bone, especially for a team that plays a matchup.
Right.
And so, it was just, it was so quick. And, I coached the game based on who was in foul trouble instead of the strategy of the game. It was, we were just trying to keep guys to prolong them so they could play, most of the game. But that was, we had a lot of units out there that hadn't played a lot together, just in the sense of, again, we got in foul trouble.
Now, for fans, it was the first game of the what they're calling the Cancun Challenge. We got over to Auburn, and Coach brought his bathing suit and golf clubs. There was no beach.
Yeah.
You don't go to Cancun. To get to Cancun, you had to go through Auburn and West Lafayette, Indiana. You got Purdue in Game 3.
This is called the money games. The reason we could go to Cancun is you got to pay your way to it. You got to go play at Auburn. You got to go play at Purdue. Two really tough teams. This is the life of mid-majors.
Right.
If you look and you see all the mid-majors, we don't get them on neutral courts, and we surely don't get them on our courts. So you have to, play in these type of events, and you got to play them at home and with their officials and those things. And but I think it gets you ready. I thought, a few years ago it got us ready. I told our guys it's kind of like an NCAA tournament game. You got to go on the road, all those neutral court in the NCAA tournament. It's really difficult to go beat a Power 5 team in their building. It's one of the hardest things to do. That's why you don't see it happen a lot. And that's why we don't get them on neutral courts. But again, I thought we learned a lot. We'll go down to Purdue and West Lafayette, Indiana, and we'll really find out
top
about
20 team, right?
we'll really find out about what it's like to play on the road. But again, I think it's good for our team.
Interestingly enough, with Auburn, two aspects. The last time Georgia State had played at Auburn, we're going all the way back to 2003, we won that game down there after getting beat by 29 when Lefty was here the year before. Mike Perry came back the next year after Lefty retired, went down there and beat him 77-72. That game this past week was the seventh game in the history between Georgia State and Auburn. And interestingly enough, one of those games was played in Atlanta because that was back in the day, and you know this from scheduling. Georgia State scheduled what's known as a 2-for-1. We'll go to Auburn twice. You come to Atlanta one time. So Auburn has played Georgia State once in the sports arena.
Yeah, you don't see that as much anymore.
Right.
Because again, for financial reasons and a lot of different reasons why you don't see the 2-for-1s. But you're kind of selling your programs short when you do that a little bit. But that's why people kind of got away from doing that. But again, it was a good learning experience for us. I learned a lot about our basketball team. Going and play, in that guard. And again, 6 minutes to go, you're sitting right there, and got a couple missed free throws, couple missed layups, and again, we were just battling uphill, most of that second half.
You talk to football coaches, and they would give their right arm to be able to play not even 2, but 1 exhibition game. Football can't play any. Basketball, you were able to play 2. You opened with Thomas, and then we were at Auburn. When we were in the locker room recording your pregame show for radio, one of my questions was, even though you've played now 3 games, you are still experimenting a little bit with rotations, and because you played a lot of guys last night, and you had to because of the foul situation. But it seems like so early in the season with 5 new faces, you are still experimenting a little bit with certain combinations that you want on the floor at certain times.
Yeah, we are. You got to remember, and I've said this before, when you're at a mid-major, what you do in the preseason, that's all well and good, but it's not going to help you. You can look at what happened with Monmouth last year. They won all the games, they still didn't go to the NCAA tournament. For mid-major, you've got to get ready for January, February, March, and that's what we're doing. So we'll look at a lot of combinations, but at the end of the day, to go to the NCAA tournament, it doesn't matter what you're doing in November, December. Not for mid-majors. It does for the Power 5. But for us, it doesn't. Because, again, you can go undefeated and still not even go to the NCAA tournament. So we've got to make sure we're peaking and playing at the right time. We've got to be playing our best basketball when the league gets here. Again, for mid-majors, your season starts in January. Right. And so whatever you do now is to get yourself ready for January and February.
Well, I guess the only time November, December really matters is if you're one of those teams late in the season and you've got 24, 25 wins, you lose in the final of your conference tournament. If you beat an Auburn, if you beat a Purdue, you could look back and say, okay, this is why we deserve an at-large. We beat Auburn. We beat Purdue early in the season. We're a pretty good basketball team.
Yeah, and I've been there before, and it still didn't matter. If you look at the last 5 years and you look at the selection, how they're picking team, what happens is that even though you beat those teams, you're rated, your RPI and everything drops because you get in your conference play.
Right.
And so then the Power 5 says our strength of conference play is much higher than what it would be in the Sun Belt or the MAC, so we lose out every single time. And again, it happened to Monmouth last year. It's happened to Western Kentucky. It's happened to a lot of good mid-major programs. That's just the nature that we live in. And so knowing that now, I think it's important that you got to, as a mid-major, man, you better be playing your best basketball. Because you can be doing that, you can be great, and all of a sudden, you know what, you still just done because, again, your conference schedule weighs you down according to the people at the NCAA, that make that decision.
Well, we've talked with Coach, and he was with us last week. We talked a lot about, Jeremy Hollowell returning. Jeremy had a pretty good game in the opener with 23 points, and what Willie Clayton brings to this ball club. It wasn't until the Auburn game that I saw exactly what you guys were looking at in Justin Seymour, because Justin had an outstanding basketball game, 8 for 16, 3 for 7 behind the three-point line. You played him 33 minutes, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal.
Yeah, I thought he played really well.
He did.
He's a good basketball player. He's a kid that we've been recruiting. He's a 5th-year guy, and so we kind of brought him in for these types of moments, and again, until our young guys kind of get ready. That's why we did this. And so again, people saw he's a really, really good player, and we needed that last night. And I think you'll see a lot of that with our guys. It'll be a different guy kind of each night, but if we can get consistent play from just because he's a rebounding guard, he's a physical guard, something good. We love having those type of guards. So I thought he was really good last night, and so we got to get some other guards to kind of match up to that level. But I thought he was good, and it complemented what Jeremy did. And again, we just turned the ball over too many times. I thought we shot free throws great, except for our fives. If you look at our five men, between the two of them, they were one of 8 or 1 of 9, and that's just hard to overcome.
Jeremy Hollowell with 20 points as well, 5 rebounds, 4 assists in 29 minutes, 6 of 14. And that's one of those games, where Jeremy is a marked man along with Willie. I mean, they know who Jeremy is, and they know what he brings to our team and his scoring ability.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy is a good player, and when you're a good player, you got to put those type of numbers up. I thought Willie was taken away with his fouls. He got those 2 quick fouls on him, and he was, it took his physicality away. And if you take his physicality away, again, you take everything. That's what he does, and so that's what was disappointing about that. I didn't think they kind of let him play. He got we went to him early, got the dunk in, got the layup. Thought he was going to be able to get going, and they get him inside with a travel, they get him inside with a foul, they get him with a push off that really wasn't a push off when you look at it on the tape. So again, it really kind of hampered Willie in that game.
You look at two ends of the spectrum. We were just talking about Justin Seymour, who's a grad transfer, and then you talk about DeMarcus Simons, your heralded freshman. He was out there last night, eyes wide open to be playing in front of that crowd at the Auburn Arena as a freshman.
And that's what it shows. Again, you can be as talented as you want, but a lot of times when you're thrust on the road for the first time, it's funny. People, the freshman, the guard that from Auburn that played well, he was playing at home. He was comfortable. He's always be interested to see his first true road game. He probably won't see that until January, and so that's the difference of, for a mid-major thing. But again, I think DeMarcus needed to see that the game has come easy for him for a lot of different since he's been playing. So yesterday was the first time he had some failure, and he was humbled by that. So he just got to come back. He's got to work at it, and he's got to slow down. The game's just going too fast for him right now. He's just got to slow down a little bit.
Wait a minute, Coach. I think I just heard a whistle.
Probably another one.
Heard it all the way from Auburn. All right, so Purdue next on the schedule, and then it's down to Cancun. So.
Yeah, the games just, they keep coming. That's one thing about this, right now, this part of the year, there aren't not a lot of practice times. And, we had to get a guy the day off today. We'll turn around and leave on Thursday, go down there, and then fly back here for one day and go play in Cancun. So, again, just get better every day. Again, understanding what our big picture is, what we're trying to get to. But I really like this basketball team, and I thought we showed some things that in the Auburn game that I needed to see, be honest with you, because you don't know until you play. And we did some really nice things, and so I'm excited about this team.
All right, appreciate you coming in, and let's go play well at Purdue.
All right, glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, that's Georgia State's head basketball coach Ron Hunter. Time now to take a look at what's coming up on the schedule in Georgia State athletics. Coming up on Friday, November the 18th, volleyball in action against Arkansas State, 6 p.m. That's the Sun Belt Championship. Also on the 18th, men's basketball on the road. West Lafayette, Indiana, going to take on the 15th-ranked Boilermakers of Purdue. That'll be at 7 o'clock. Saturday, November the 19th, Georgia State football, the showdown with Georgia Southern inside the Georgia Dome. Kick it off at 2. If you're with us on the radio, 1:30 with the pregame show. Sunday, November 20th, women's basketball hosting UNC Wilmington, 2 o'clock at the Georgia State Sports Arena. Tuesday, November the 22nd, men's basketball against the New Jersey Institute of Technology. That is down in Cancun, Mexico. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be down there for that one. Also on Tuesday, November 22, women's basketball against the Owls of Kennesaw State, Georgia State Sports Arena. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. Wednesday, November 23rd. It'll either be Eastern Kentucky or Idaho State in the second game down in Cancun, Mexico as part of that tournament. 12:30 or 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The tip-off for that one. So want to thank everyone, Athletic Director Charlie Cobb, our men's head basketball coach Ron Hunter. For the entire crew, I'm Dave Cohen. We'll see you here next week on the Georgia State Sports Update.